All right, in 5, 4, 3,
Cheap flights.
Cornbread.
How's it going, everyone? This is Frank Cavone, the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Frank Cavone, and we are here for episode 35 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast. As all of you know, you can watch and listen to the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast on iTunes, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, and watch it right live on YouTube, 7 p.m. every Wednesday. Not live, but we premiere them that day. And so thank you again for tuning in. We got a really great episode ahead of us. First off, David Klang, what's up, man?
I'm doing awesome. I'm honored to be on Cheap Flights and Cornbread. You guys really run a great show here.
Thank you so much, man. We try to keep it as fresh as possible and as cheap as possible. That's why we're drinking Busch today. Brett, it's good to see you, man.
Hey, glad to be back and to be here on time for 2 podcasts in a row.
That's it.
That's probably a personal best since our residency at Putnam Place.
Hey, trendsetter.
Trendsetter, baby.
What's going on, man? How you
been?
been?
Good. I've been
How's
doing
your
pretty
week?
good. My week has been, just like most other weeks in the upstate New York area in the wintertime. Not much happening, just mainly work. Finally getting someplace on insurance in the car situation. So we'll hopefully be at least looking at new cars or in a new car by the end of the month. That's my goal.
Good.
But yeah, other than that, nothing too exciting. Haven't gone snowboarding, but
No snow?
No, not much snow. Had a couple really warm days. It was almost like summertime. It was crazy,
Literally.
cruising with the windows down, of course. But how was your week, man, dude?
Crazy, man. As always, would it not be?
No.
If it was me, I hate to say it that way, but yeah, I'll go through waves where I'm just like fucking nothing. Like January was so dead for me. I don't know about you, like as a band and like working in audio production, but I saw, like I went to one concert. That was weird, you know.
light.
And then a week like this past weekend was awesome. We had C-Pod's reunion, which was incredible, sold out show at Lark Hall. And we did get that full multicam video of that. So stay tuned. That's going to be released on the C-Pod's YouTube channel coming soon. Also, Glass Pony had a killer show. Laura Lee opening up the night, and Glass Pony dropped a brand new song, which the show wasn't recorded, but go see a Glass Pony show because they're fucking awesome. And also, I actually I was a guest on a podcast for the first time.
Facts. What one?
So it's called the Unsigned 518 Podcast with Andy Scullin. It's a podcast that Nippertown hosts, that Nippertown picked up from Andy, and he's a really good guy. He's in a band called Shortwave Radio Band, and he is he has all the right intentions for the scene. And thank you so much, Andy, for letting us be able to talk about Listen Up Awards, the start of Mirth Films. We were talking about just everything we've been doing and all that jazz. So that was cool. And then I kind of put together another camera review video. It's just something that I like doing. I actually find it fun, and I like. I guess
like
I would
that you
like
started that with stress, though. Stress put together.
I was sitting on this
We got
video,
time.
and the thing is, I've gotten into a habit of doing these almost every single week. So I'll see a number spike on YouTube with our camera review videos specifically. It's a hot, trendy topic. And so I'm like, if I don't do it, then that unfortunately the algorithm is going to sway back to music, which is what we're about. But it helps. It helps in our growth. So I want to keep doing it. So that's why it's worth the stress. I spent all day yesterday working on the damn thing, and so it's probably out by now. But best beginner cameras, video cameras in 2023. So go and check that out. But other than that, man, what about you, dude?
Dude, I'd love to say anything really fun and crazy has been going on, but I wrote an article.
Yes, you did.
I did. I was trying to not be such a lazy piece of shit, and I asked Frankie. I said, "What's something I could write?" And there's one we are working on that will eventually be a collaborative effort, because this will be an article that not just one opinion can be used upon. That's coming at a later date. But my 5 favorite mobile games.
Yes.
Because I haven't had as much time in my newfound adulthood to sit down and play stuff on my console. So instead, I just kind of squeeze it in where I can, like for moments where I should be working and moments where I should be being productive. But there's a fair chance if I'm working one of my 7 jobs and I'm being paid to do it, there's a good chance I'm playing something on my phone for at least an hour of that night.
Nice.
There you go. So yeah, go and check that out. Right on mirth-films.com. Brett has an article of the captain's top 5 favorite mobile games. And what about you, man? Or do you got anything else to share, Brett?
That's all I got, dude.
What about you, dude? What's the life of the orangutan this week?
Oh man, well, what I will say is that I have way too many nicknames based off of what rhymes with my last name.
This is something I can relate to you with.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I just
Because
call
of
you
these
Frank
guys.
Cavone. You know?
At least my OG friend group. You, Jake, Greg.
I'm trying to think of some right now.
Pankus, Poopus, Jackass. I've gotten it all.
Well,
from you guys.
that doesn't necessarily rhyme with
I
your
don't
name.
think-
That's taking a variation of your name and then adding even more
They
to
would
it.
just be faded out and just be Poopus. I'd just be fuck you.
But then eventually they stick and become affectionate.
Yeah, I'm okay with it now. I've gotten over it, but let's hear some of yours.
Yeah, well, I don't know. A lot of, I've been called Orangutan is not the first time I've been called that.
No way.
Klang Khan is one
Ooh.
that
That's
stuck
a good one.
recently.
That's a good one.
My brother, I forgot, when I was in high school, I went to a school where a lot of kids were worried about what college they would be getting into. So as seniors, everyone would change their name on Facebook. And my brother changed his to Clangston Hughes. Yeah, so I don't know. There's just been a lot of, my dad, growing up in the generation before us, no one called him by his last name. But me and my brother growing up our entire lives, it was just hey, Klang. So, I start to feel like I fit in an environment when people start to cue on that they should call me Klang, honestly.
Hey, there you go.
But to roll with your initial question of
Yeah.
what's been going on this week, it's been a good week. I've been doing a lot of prep and booking work for the band, and we are pulling together a tour, and that's looking pretty complete, and we're looking ahead now. By the time this video is out, we will have announced a gig in Syracuse at Funkin' Waffles.
Oh, sick.
And that'll be opening for the C-Pods.
Oh, awesome.
And Al Schneer from Mo is going to be playing with them.
That's
Ooh,
correct.
awesome.
That's the week of May 12th and 13th. It's going to be Funkin' Waffles.
She's already in the know. I love this.
TPE said it on stage over the weekend, but yes, dude, that's awesome, man. Are you going up with them to the water hall after the fact for the next day?
No, I don't think so. I didn't even know that they were going up there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they're doing a 2-night run, and that's so awesome that they brought you there. Have you guys played Funkin' Waffles before?
We played Funkin' Waffles not this past Christmas, but right between New Year's and Christmas in 2021, I guess it was. So we'd played there once before with Vaporize, who was an awesome.
Oh yeah, of course.
An awesome local staple there. I don't think they're playing anymore, but there's definitely some local projects going, around there that are still hitting it in that scene over there. But we've been really lucky to get in with the C-Pods there, and the Mo scene's definitely an influence on kind of how we would like to grow, especially in this area. So
Yeah.
the more west we can get with the Mo scene is definitely good for us, because they hit hard in Buffalo. People love them out there. So anywhere between here and Buffalo, we played it was Moquius. We did an after party for
No
them.
shit. Oh, that's sick.
Back in Halloween, and we went into that show. I will tell you that's a top show for me last year, honestly. They really, Mike Ganser on guitar.
Shout out Mike, dude, so good. Yeah.
That was not the first time I've seen Mike Ganser live. I saw Death Kings at the Empire Underground.
Yeah.
And I saw Aqueous open for Twiddle years ago. and they always impress me. But Mike Ganser played, it was Pigs, the whole band played Pigs by Pink Floyd, and he did the David Gilmour Talkbox solo, and he completely, knocked it out of the park, blew my doors off, whatever you want to call it. It was awesome.
Oh, nice.
What were some of, you guys have any, top, concert experiences this year that come to mind?
Top, I haven't been to a Hilltop show, so I can't say I do.
Off the bat, I gotta say, Frasco at Empire was just a tremendous experience.
Was that this year?
Yeah. Are we talking about of 2023 so far?
Yeah, are you talking about 2023?
I was asking about last year.
Okay.
Last year.
Since COVID, just since shows have been back now for a little while.
Okay.
So that could count.
Yeah, no, Frasco all day, dude.
What
Definitely.
was that?
It was at Empire Live. God.
December.
Yeah, sometime in December.
It was the same night as Blue Star Radiation up here.
Oh.
Yes.
I luckily didn't get stuck in the middle. I had to work, so I didn't go to
Oh, yeah. Best case scenario. But no, it was great. And my fiance had, I had gotten her I had dragged her to Frasco just a few months prior when they were here back in April. And then found out he was coming back, and I said, fuck, dude, we're getting in on this again. I wanted to get my cousin Davey. My cousin Dave has been to fucking 75 Mo shows, about 37 million Fish shows, including the one in Glens Falls in '94.
Cool.
Dude,
He knows what's up.
Yeah,
He probably listens to you guys.
Dude, no, I asked him last night because every time a band comes on, I always say, Dave, any kind of questions I should ask? He's like, who's Hilltop?
Cool. I love
that.
that.
Dude.
Okay,
So
I
have something. Well, it is now for him.
Okay, good.
I know right now he's probably Ubering right now, just has a whole fucking playlist ready. He's like, I'm going to know everything by this fucking band. Yeah, so Davey's gonna end up knowing all of your discography, including I don't know what if you had to tell Dave the first song to listen to, what is the one you would whip out from your arsenal and say, hey, this is the Hilltop song of Hilltop songs?
We have a couple. If you're gonna go the Hilltop song of Hilltop songs, I would maybe answer a song like To the Sea, which is one of the songs. It's interesting, when you start a band and you get going with, and traveling and just playing tunes, the first album definitely really defines, or, that first collection of songs. And we had, an 8-track album that came out right around the time that we got the band started. And that catalog, I'm sure on most nights we'll play a song, at least 1 or 2 songs from our original album. We're definitely growing a lot as writers, and we have grown a lot as writers since then and almost doubled our catalog. But, it's hard to deny, I feel with most bands, if they're still playing, some of their first songs that hit, everyone's gonna recognize them. It's definitely a part of that, So I would say To the Sea. I was tempted to honestly plug a song before you asked the Hilltop song of Hilltop songs. I probably would have just plugged a song that I wrote or something like that. But I wrote Bed, which is the first track on our first album, and I really I wrote that in college.
It's called Bed?
B-E-D, yes.
Okay, not sad. I like it.
So, I wrote that tune in college with, I don't even think Hilltop was a thing yet, and then Hilltop came together, and I was like, guys, I have this tune that I wrote, here's a recording of it, and, it became a Hilltop tune in not much time. But that one, I would really say that Eris's songwriting is very much so a defining factor for some of the really in the essence sort of songs, and Reed and Eris tap into that together a little bit. Reed has a good way of putting lyrics over stuff. My songwriting at times is a little bit more self-developed, where I'll bring a full tune to the guys.
Yeah.
But I still absolutely, it's funny, I matured a lot, I think, early on as their songs grew on me. And I always, at this point, I have a lot of patience for their ideas because I know they're going in a good direction, if that makes sense.
I mean, I gotta say, Eris has I mean, from my first time recording you guys doing that live stream in, was it 2020 when we were? Yeah,
that was the first time. Yeah, that was
first
great.
time. I think it was. I met Eris beforehand, at Alive at 5. He was like, I don't know if he was handing out flyers or he was just like hanging out. But he was like telling me how he was like going to see Fish at Bangor in 2019, like was riding rail there and like super gnarly. And I could tell that he really had the right mindset going into it. Especially like he seems like a guy who you're around him, all the time. But like from the outside looking in, he seems like he's very disciplined. I mean, and big shout out to Eris. He just went down and played the Trey 1999 rig, and played. They shared a clip. What was it? Funky Bitch.
I didn't see. I don't remember what.
You gotta watch it. Oh my god! But he's literally sounded like fucking Trey, like to a T.
Was it It's Ice or something like that?
It was impressive.
I heard him, going into that discipline thing. Like he knew that he was going to play that rig and was practicing Trey, like some of the more heavily composed stuff. So like I heard Eris just like in the practice room, just like shedding It's Ice.
Oh my God.
A good amount before
that's technical too.
Yeah, Eris is a great player, and like I'm trying to, it's cool to have like a high standard to keep up with or something like that, because I definitely, Eris is just like, he practically just like sleeps with the guitar in his hand, man. Like he's got, he gives himself the space that he needs to be really good at his instrument, and he has his certain approach that he brings to it, and it's only motivating for me to figure out my own approach, which at least recently has been very jazz kind of like.
I was gonna say it's got to be able to allow for something like that, because when you're playing all over the neck. Like usually when I like seen you play in times, and I mean.
It's very, so like what we do is, and it's funny because like I'll shout out my friends Dysfunctone, they're the best. We played a show with them for the first time after we had known them and seen each other's acts and seen them for years. And we realized like, whoa, like you guys, like in reference to Dysfunctone, kind of do more of like a Dopapod-ish sort of thing where it's very like, it's like an orchestrated kind of like passing of the torch and like kind of keeping the groove. Whereas with us, and even back when we had keys, like I think we came from this very like Grateful Dead and a little bit of Fish, but like the jazz improv that shines through in both Grateful Dead and Fish is kind of what grabbed us. And now that we have less, now that me and Eris are the only one playing like harmonic instruments on the thing, or in the group, like, we have to like dance around each other a little bit. And like, I can remember there were times, not to get too technical with it, but like when Eris starts playing something, like, we might go from, just kind of holding down the same like chord or whatever for 20 minutes if it's a good groove, but then something will come that's completely improvised out of nowhere. And I need to know what the hell he's playing on the fly. So just to kind of aid that recently, I've just been going back into reading jazz charts more, and just kind of being able to like jump to notes quicker and that kind of thing.
That's cool.
And I'm playing the upright bass a little bit more now too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Sweet.
I'm trying to get out there, honestly, like as a bass player. Like Eris, has lots of gigs that he has solo for himself.
And he plays
lined
with
up.
his brother too.
Marcus, I need to shout out Marcus.
Is he older or younger than Eris?
What would you guess?
Younger.
He is indeed younger than Mark.
He just reminds me of like that younger brother to somebody. I don't know why. But like obviously he's a lot taller than me.
Well, I am a younger brother, so I know what you mean. Like, Marcus is a great like supporting character at our shows.
Dude, he's at every show too. Like,
he's like, he's definitely like one of like my best friends in, people that show up to a show. Like I know that Marcus is like, he's a constant when he's there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so he's a
yeah.
great influence on us, I can say, and just keeping us chill. as a younger brother too, like I kind of know what that's like in terms of like showing up in someone's life. You know, it's not my role in that instance to be a teacher or anything like that, but just to kind of keep it real. And you know, like we all have like people in our family who we can just like be there for or something like that. And you know, like I get to know my brother and his friends, and like he's got like a girlfriend that he lives with now, and like I just show up and I try to be the bro, and they're in New York City, so that's lots of fun for me.
Yeah.
But like with Marcus, he just shows up, and you know, he doesn't try to school anyone on anything or to like put anyone in their place or anything. I'm looking at you, Marcus. He's just the ultimate bro. So it leads to us having good times, and it's funny too because he's just a big dude, and sometimes he's like right in the front when we're playing, and it gives the impression that we have like a security guard or something. It's dope as fuck. People
That's
bring
awesome.
Marcus around because he's just like, he's the nicest guy, he's the sweetest guy, but he's just got that physical presence, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a musician too, out there working it. And I can't remember if I remember this correctly, but he just played a gig with his brother, with Eris and Laura Lee, after Greg Bell's spoken word at Parish Public House.
Yeah, it was like the first Dead Night that they did there.
Dead Night, yep. Shout out to Sean Stock for
Sean
he's the one
Stock,
putting
yeah.
Stock.
Yeah, Sean Stock is he's at Parish Public House now. He's putting together a lot of the events there.
Yeah,
So
he seems very like he seems like a go-getter, and I gotta apologize to him. He asked me to film that, but man, after like a long weekend, sometimes like if I got like 2 terabytes worth of footage, I literally want to just like crawl under my desk and just not come out. It's a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And for a one-man band, a lot of times, but dude, they're gonna be doing that each and every single Wednesday, and so you should go check that out. Greg Bell has a lot of stories to tell.
is it gonna be Greg telling
I think
stories
it's
every
gonna
Wednesday?
It's going to be changing, ever
Okay.
changing, but I think Greg might do it again. Yeah, so I want to get into just some of the things that you guys are going to be doing in coming time. But first, you had a good question. What was some of your favorite acts that you saw last year?
I had like a little panic attack. I was trying to think. I was like, what did I see last year? But I did come up with something. Obviously, Wild in the Trees happened last year. It was amazing to see the Claims make their comeback.
Yes.
And also, I would say like the Haunting, seeing them, like they really were high energy, and I definitely love a little high energy set. I love to rage my face off. So I think those are the first 2 that come to mind. I'm sticking to them. What about you? I know you see a lot of music.
Shit, last year I think I hit like 120 shows last year I went to. I definitely went overkill. So that's why for me, like going to one show in January was like deafening. It was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And then I remember how else I spent my time playing video games. But so I would probably say there's a bunch, but first off, Dark Star Orchestra Night 1 at the Palace. I've never seen so many spinners in my life. And it felt like an authentic Grateful Dead show, from the music, from the crowd interactions, and overall just high level of performance from that band. That was easily one of my favorite shows. I could say something like Mo at the Plaza, like being able to go and work that was fucking awesome. But like, if I'm talking about simply enjoying Chestnut Grove here in December, they are going to blow up, and big shout out to them. They're very great, fucking honest people, and their music is insane. And so that definitely was a great show. I probably listened to that show on our YouTube channel like 100. I probably have every view on that show on our YouTube channel with that one. I didn't really get to see a lot of Fish.
Oh man,
I can't really speak on that.
I had some Fish experiences last year,
Ooh.
man.
Did ya?
Yeah. So, I'm originally a Long Islander, and I had been waiting. I saw my first Fish at the beginning of 2016, and from then I was like, oh man, I hope they come to Jones Beach this summer. And then in 17, oh man, I hope they come to Jones Beach this summer. They ended up doing a lot of cool shit, at the Garden in 17. But they finally did a Jones Beach show this past year. They did 2, and it was honestly like seeing the Fish production, with the background of the ocean was really cool. And it was nice because that's a venue where the further you get from the whole stage, the more backdrop you get, essentially. So if we were like up top and center and just we're watching an awesome light show and we're looking out on like, large ocean liners at the same time, just a very cool environment to watch a band in, honestly. And I was able to take like literally like a lifelong friend to see his first show.
Oh, that's incredible.
So it was,
You guys got a Mike's Groove, right? Down in Jones Beach?
I think
I remember
we did.
drooling over the set list. It looked insane. And yeah, they haven't played there since what? You said what, 2013, 2012?
So I started seeing them in 2016. I think they maybe had played there in 2011 or 2012.
Yeah.
So it had been probably around a decade. It was a wonderful experience. I got to see them in Bethel also. Fish has been a huge influence from a very, honestly, my first Fish show that I saw, I was like 18 years old, and I knew I wanted to do music, but it just wasn't clear to me, honestly, that I don't know how to say it, but music that, I didn't know that there was enough of a scene outside of pop music, honestly. So I was just immediately so encouraged to walk into what I perceived as the biggest venue possible in Madison Square Garden and just seeing it packed for a band that just wanted to play their music. And they were just normal dudes. They weren't hunks or anything like that. I was like, oh, I'm just a schlubby kid, and I'm looking at John Fishman in a freaking muumuu or whatever kind of dress he wears. And I'm just like, whoa, this is far out, because you could totally see yourself, or I was able to see myself in them a little bit. And that's a wonderful thing. I know so many other musicians too that have been inspired by them. So it's a blessing, honestly.
Yeah, they're an incredible band that shaped parts of our friendship, and
Oh yeah, no, the SPAC runs back in the day, and I feel you when you're I hope they come back to Jones Beach. I've been waiting for them to come back to SPAC, and I was really hoping this year was gonna be that year.
Yeah, no, and that's where before the podcast started, we were talking about why are we salty a little bit about the summer tour? Personally, for me, the reason why I'm salty is because I don't know. I just we just got out of a pandemic. I don't want to be in MSG for 7 nights. I'm just gonna say that. They had the move dates into spring of last year. Then they went for another 4. Their traditional fucking layup, at the end of the year, and then that's all. And then we're gonna go into 8 more that, and
it just seems excessive.
All right,
it seems excessive, but what I'm trying to say here is, that's just my opinion. I would have hoped for maybe a festival this year. It's their 40th anniversary, you would think. And,
I'll push back a little bit.
So, okay, the one day I am happy about is Syracuse.
Facts.
Syracuse has the best. They have the best lawn in all of New York.
Dude, and they have a lake right next to it.
Yeah, they have the lake, and the lawn's not steep at all.
Cool.
It is where SPAC is hey, I need to wear fucking
cleats
or just something so I don't slip and fall. This place is wow, you don't even realize you're walking down a hill.
Okay.
And everything's all right up at the top. If you want a beverage for $20, you can get one there. But so I will say we had a lot of East Coast dates last year, so that's not my problem. My problem is I don't want to be inside during the summer for a concert when some of my best, and I would say musical experiences with Fish were outside because they were definitely inside, but best memories with friends, sitting out at the lot. I don't want to fucking spend $1,000 for 3 nights with having to pay for a hotel, how to figure out how to get down there, food's not cheap, and I can bet your ass you're not making any food at that hotel. You're gonna go out and be lazy, you know? You're waking up hungover, so fuck it. So for me, it's like, it's hard to justify that musical experience, which has kind of like pushed me to start listening to, not like be so hearted on this band that is one of my favorite bands of all time, because
there's other experiences.
They're fucking human beings too. So like, I'm just some fucking moron doing a podcast, you know? Like, it just was like, dude, they haven't played SPAC since 2019. Like
it's been a long time, and if you're going all the way out to Syracuse, I mean, you can hit a couple stops on the way.
Yeah, which means, who knows? No, no speculation. Maybe it's because Goose and Dead & Company are both playing. Maybe Trey's like, hey, let's give them their time. Let's let them shine, and maybe we get a nice, juicy East Coast fall tour.
What I will say is that, having now gotten into trying to, book my own events and everything, you can just see how calculated Fish's whole management ecosystem is, and they know exactly where they're going and where they should be and how it plays into what the band wants to do. One thing that I'll say, like, with my downstate New York bias a little bit, I forgot the first Fish shows back after COVID. It was maybe those April shows. When they played and they did that, the
first
thing with
MSG shows.
Yes, sorry, their first MSG shows back since COVID. I saw them the summer before that in Hershey and a couple of places. Go
back there.
I had the pleasure and the experience of catching the whole Baker's Dozen and all 17 that year and doing a lot of MSG with Fish. And what I can say is when I got back in there in 21, it felt like you were coming back to home field, home court. So I think over the years, because of the Baker's Dozen and because of this regular New Year's run that they do,
it's an impact.
It's literally their home court at this point, it feels like to me.
That makes sense.
Like, Trey lives there at this point. It's like, I think it's a very doable kind of thing. Fish is, they're certainly a Vermont band, but for whatever reason, New York, and I think it helps cement them as a big band because they're playing in the largest stage possible.
Yeah. And I think they can't, actually, I'm pretty sure the reason why they can't play Vermont is because they don't have the infrastructure to allow for a concert that big.
Hopefully.
The last time they played was in 2011 for a benefit for one of the, some hurricane happened in 2011. I can't remember which one.
Irene.
Yeah, Hurricane Irene. They did some benefit show there, but yeah, I mean you're right though. Watkins Glen, MSG, SPAC. Fishman has roots in Syracuse. New York is a very, and plus, New York City, biggest city in the world. But I still think Trey, you could forget how to drive while you're living down there. So get on the road, just like the song Destiny Unbound. So come on.
What I do love about this tour,
God.
and honestly, your hype of Lakeview Amphitheater in Syracuse has me okay, because that Baker's Dozen year, I was like, I only caught them at the Garden that year, and this year, I'll be probably playing some shows that overlap, and I won't be able to catch every night like I used to. But that also has me thinking, all right, Syracuse would be a really nice show to go catch. Everyone's complaining that the Midwest didn't get anything, but make the ride east to Pittsburgh. You'll be there in a few hours, and it'll be pretty awesome.
Yeah, or
they
played Arkansas in 2021, first show back ever after COVID. So they go out and see them. If you got to drive a few hours, that's the point. Some of the best memories are on the road. And not everybody has the privilege to be, in a band or work in the industry. So, that's that feel of going and doing that, being out of your own element, and camping, that is, even when we go to SPAC, we'll stay at one of the local campgrounds just because there's a sense of camaraderie. And when you're, MSG, which will produce the best show, 12:30, 1997, 1231. You know, we could go through all of them.
It's to me, honestly, like the pull of MSG is like when you walk in that place, they call it the world's most famous arena, and for whatever reason, it just lives up to that. I don't know why.
It's probably because they don't change their name every 5 years, like the TU Center. You know.
There you go. Honestly, I know
it's an
I know what
iconic
you mean.
spot.
But
You know what I noticed, which I got to stop and talk about? When anybody ever talks about that venue, it's always like, oh, are you going to see any shows at MVP Arena? Or whatever it's called now. And everybody always ends it, or whatever it's called now. It's like, yeah, you're from the Capital Region, buddy.
That's hilarious.
What was it called before it was the Pepsi Arena?
Knickerbocker.
How about before that?
It was always the Knickerbocker.
it's the Nick. The Grateful Dead has Dozen at the Nick.
I could see how the Pepsi Arena was at least.
expecting that.
was
The
at least-
Pepsi was great. I grew up in the Pepsi era.
yeah, I grew up in the
I'm
Pepsi era.
I'm a
Rowdy.
Pepsi
That's
chap
cool.
myself.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's
None
TU
of
Center,
us were out there.
vibe.
Yeah.
Times Union wasn't bad. Was it now? Is it MVP?
No, it was cool.
Isn't that wait?
It was
Isn't
cool.
isn't
Arena now.
Knickerbocker what
The-
like
the
the full
atmosphere
name is of the
changes
New York
when the name
Knicks?
changes. You know?
Knickerbocker.
Dude, God, I feel like we should stop saying that.
Yeah, it's but there is still a Knickerbocker arena in Troy that is a hockey arena too. I
that's
actually grew
sick.
up playing hockey there.
Yeah, I went to a hockey game actually up in Lake Placid at the Fiji World University Games. Had a great time there, and actually heard you were up there working as well. What are you doing up there?
I was working sound for the speed skating oval. So
that's sick.
the outdoor speed skating every morning, you know, I had never seen speed skating before, but every morning they get up and they do their trial runs and then all different kinds of races. And I was literally just mixing like the PA announcer and the DJ for everyone that was, seeing it in person. And, audio is just kind of like, I met the Hilltop guys in audio school, so it's me and most of them are typically working some kind of audio gig in the downtime for the band. And that I got brought up to Lake Placid for that, and that was like the first like sports broadcast sort of environment. Like I was on like a headset and was like being given cues and stuff like that. I really enjoyed doing sports production, honestly. Having watched sports my whole life, it was really, and being in music production, it was really cool to kind of jump into the whole competition environment and just honestly, winter sports is like, it's almost similar to like the jam band scene or something like that, because like everyone in winter sports knows everyone goes to the same few events every year, so it's a very community-based thing. And I think a lot of sports, as you kind of get into these like more competitive circles, people start to know people. So I like working with nice people, so I had an awesome time doing sound and watching freaking people skate by hella fast and stuff like that. Where were you in Lake Placid?
I was actually up at the in Whiteface. I was doing the Alpine racing. I was doing like the live broadcast, so very similar to I was just on the live broadcast crew. But I mean, that's actually very funny like compared to the jam scene, because I was first like what, but like that makes a lot of sense. It is like kind of like a close knit community that they're doing these very same events each year, and like I'm up there with like the Boss Hog Productions, so it's like Frankie's been on that crew before, and like we do mainly all the USCSAs.
Yeah, thanks.
Right. Mr. Porter's been on it. Sorry. The whole crew's
We've
been
all
on
been
it at
on that
separate
goddamn
times.
mountain.
So we're speaking of winter. Actually, I do have a topic related to winter.
Oh, all right. Let's hear it.
So we are bringing back Steez or Stale this episode. Steez or Stale is basically a fun game that we have that we're going to make a statement, and you got to say Steez or Stale. Steez as this is cool, Stale as nah. And and it could go either way depending on who you are as a person, so that's what makes this fun and interesting. But first one, Steez or Stale. We're going to go down the line, start with you, David. Dave or David?
I typically go by Dave.
Dave, because I feel like I'm like your mom, like by calling you David. So I'm just David, get over here. All right.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, you are a Long Island boy. So, but Steez or Stale? A snowless, warm winter. Steez or Stale?
I gotta say that's not Steez. You know what I mean? Like, we were driving in Connecticut for our winter tour last year, and we just saw some snowless mountains, and that gets stale pretty quick. You see one snowless mountain, you're like, all right, like it's the middle of February. That mountain should be white and snowy, man. Like stale.
Stale. All right, Brett.
Dude, I could go the rest of my life without seeing another winter. As I've gotten older, I've slowly begun to understand why old people like go to Florida in droves every year. Dude, give me a snowless winter any day. That's steez as fuck to me.
I basically would go. I mean, I could go either way. I feel like growing up, always stale. I would hate winter. Past few years, getting into snowboarding, doing winter sports coverage, like it's getting pretty steezy. But I just crashed my car in this winter weather, so I'm going stale.
All right, I'm gonna have to go stale as well because number one, global warming, and number two, as a photographer, I can't do anything in the winter other than shoot concerts now. It's like gray, cloudy skies. It's good for portraits, but if I'm looking for, specific drone shots and I'm getting bare trees that have no leaves on them, that does nothing for me. And so for that reason, I got to go stale. Next topic, and steez or stale, jam bands, steez or stale.
Are we doing the same order?
Same
Are you
order,
looking
jam
at?
bands.
You're looking at me.
This is I think a debated topic amongst even people that are in the jam band scene, honestly, because like even amongst I think I'd be lying if I told you that Hilltop wasn't a jam band. But sometimes we talk and it's like, do we want to just be a jam band? We'll have conversations like that and stuff like that. But what I've said with a few other people is that the jam band scene, and it's like what I saw with Fish for the first time, it's one of the few musical scenes where like true musicality and improvisation and putting yourself out there is really valued. So if you're asking me if jam bands are steez or stale, come on, man, I gotta say jam bands are steez.
Okay, Brett.
Dude, I don't know enough about all of this shit. This like for me to make a broad statement one way or the other, I feel like it's gonna make me sound really ignorant. Because I've seen jam bands that should fucking like, I don't know, see like what local drive-through is like hiring. I've seen like I've seen some real bottom of the barrel talent in the industry, and at the same time, dude, I've seen some phenomenal shows. So for me to like go one way or the other, God, dude, that's what makes it such a steez or stale question.
Yeah, I know,
right? This has to be a hot take, one or the other. So it boils down to, have I seen more bad jam bands or good jam bands in my life? And it's definitely bad jam bands. I'm going to say stale, dude.
Used to be pretty steez, kind of getting stale on it. But
yes.
I mean, it does make me like, if you're a jam band that stands out is, you're doing different things than, the other jam bands, then like I'm going to appreciate you a lot more. So there can be a good amount of steez in there. But you might find a good amount of stale, a lot of stale in there.
So which is it?
Oh, it says it's stale, but it used to be steez.
So I by my job have to say steez, and I don't know if it's because I'm like changing as what I'm like my musical tastes are, but I've definitely been diving deeper back into what I really like. And which also makes me have to say stale because my whole thing was when I started listening to jam bands was I was just like, this is long form rock and roll, So I think, when I'm listening to, a fucking, Chalk Dust Torture or, I don't know, whatever it is, Rebirth from Widespread, I look at that as rock and roll. And it's sad to me that, what we hear on mainstream radio, that's not what we're hearing, because there's some incredible bands in the jam band scene that I think could make it in other forms. And when you look at 60s rock and roll, what happened? You had that, Flower Power era, which produced like New Riders of the Purple Sage, The Grateful Dead, Jimi Hendrix, that was this new thing, right? So I feel like we're in this shift, this paradigm shift with jam bands, where you could say 2013 to 2018, we saw, like Pigeons, Twiddle, like all these like specifically improv acts, and now you got bands like Hilltop, Glass Pony, Dogs in a Pile, Goose, like who are kind of like transcending and going into their own avenues. And I think that jam band is a stale term So
I'd
that's my
agree with
answer.
that.
Stale term. I like that. I think that's a nice.
That's just how I look at it. Like Andy Frasco, you're gonna call him a jam band, but
No.
he
I
plays
call-
on the jam
well,
band circuit.
I call-
that guy is fucking like Joe Cocker.
I call Andy Frasco just Americana.
He is.
I call him rock and roll.
Yeah, he's rock and roll to the fucking pure.
Dude.
Like Shawn Echols on guitar, like nastiest
Oh,
motherfucker.
dude, he goes hard.
Like, you know, all the whole
Ernie
band.
Chang, the greatest saxophone player I've ever seen in any arrangement,
Max.
He,
possibly ever.
the only person that I think compares to Ernie Chang is Mike Oman, who would play with Wild Adriatic, and actually they did a saxophone battle
At the Summit,
The Summit
2019, dude. Yeah.
that was sick. You
The
were
last-
there, right?
I was
Yeah,
there.
you were there.
Frankie, that was the year. That was the year, dude. You. I don't know how you did it, but you ran into something, and
Oh
your
my
whole
God.
leg was like exploding
I
with blood,
fucked my knee up that night.
dude.
So
I had to-
I got a story time. So
great
I
time.
was photographing, Summit 2019, and the staging is pointy, at the end. Yeah, it's a square, fucking piece of metal.
It'll happen.
So my knee, I'm like taking a photo, my knee nicks this piece of metal, and like 2 seconds later, I'm like gushing blood down my knee. And I basically had to like wash it off, like limp my ass back up to my hotel room, wash it off. It was the biggest pain in the ass. But the only thing that really made me upset was I fucking spent money on a hotel. I couldn't even sleep under the covers because I didn't want to get a fucking fee because my knee was bleeding.
Oh my God.
But it reopened at Fish, fucking 2019 fall tour opener at Providence. I'm fucking first tube. I'm like, Trey's playing first tube. I'm shooting photos. Same thing happens. Like, it's like 2 minutes before he goes and like picks his guitar up and like shines it, which was one of the greatest moments for me ever in my life. Only because like you don't ever get, like as photographer, 3 songs, the chance of them playing first tube opener it's not a lot because they switch your sets up. So that was amazing. But like I fucking basically nicked my knee again and I couldn't do anything about it because I had to drive home after. So it was like bleeding for like 6 hours.
Ow!
I almost
you get
left. I was like
pulled
getting
over.
ready to leave.
They'd be looking for the body if you got pulled over.
I know,
Probably.
right?
I was like getting ready to leave the show during the encore because I was like, I never do this, but what am I gonna do? But then they fucking opened up with Meat Stick for the encore. I was like, now I gotta stay. I got it. This is the opener.
Your
Come on.
leg was a meat stick at that point.
I know, right?
Yeah. So next one. Vertical video. Steez or stale?
I'll say Steez, maybe just because I see it do well and horizontal video doesn't always pick up as well.
Okay.
But I mean, if everyone is looking at an iPhone and just holding it like this and just kind of, it's one of the easiest ways to present people. And also like your whole body can fit into it kind of nicely. So like you can do some stuff with that. So I'll say Steez. I've been pretty Steez recently, I feel like.
What about you, man?
This goes against like everything I've ever like learned with my useless film degree, dude. I don't know. I don't know what my personal vendetta is against shooting things in vertical, but I hate it. I forget what night it was. It was actually, I'm pretty sure I was drugged, but I started saying some outrageous shit. And one of the things I had said amongst my group of very strange film friends at Plattsburgh State was that shooting in vertical video should be like we were trying to figure out what the punishment should be to like if you shot in vertical video. And at some point I had just screamed to the world like death by stoning.
That's probably
So
That's up
death
there.
by staling.
I don't know if
That's by
I don't know if
staling.
that's enough punishment, but all right.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
I'm not on my phone watching media enough to call vertical steezy. I understand the aspects and the good parts of it, but I'm gonna go stale. I'm on YouTube and Netflix way too often. And every time you get like YouTube video and they like crop in like like the phone and they have like the playing on the side, I'm like, this is, oh my god,
This is unbearable.
yeah, stale.
Yeah, I gotta say stale too. It allows too many people who don't know how to use video capabilities to be able to do video-related things, aka your mom and dad. The whole TikTok scene and everything it creates, I just fucking can't stand it. For marketing purposes, I'm going to say Steez because it does boost your numbers in the algorithm. And currently, YouTube has this thing where if you aren't a regular creator and you're just getting into YouTube and you can hit 1,000 subs by doing, I think they lowered the like level of qualifications for monetization. So that's cool. But I don't like it because people are taking even horizontal video and making it into a fucking, that pisses me off. I've seen a couple people do that to my videos. I just literally want to like
Throw rocks at
salt
them.
them with words, man.
Salt them with
I didn't
words.
spend so much time like shooting this 4K 10 quality fucking video for it to, like, if you ask me, I will shoot it vertical. And like chances are I'm already doing it. But like if it's like, I don't know. It's really like you got to pick and choose your battle. Like if you're doing, I don't know. Like I really suggest like even doing a reel a week. Like that will improve your algorithm in like tenfold because they're recognizing that you're utilizing these tools that they're offering, which is what they want. So you got to play that stupid fucking game. I don't play it with like my regular like my Fcavone photos, like where I share my photo. Like I don't give a shit about that stuff. But like with Mirth Films, I do have to unfortunately pay attention to those things because I want my company to succeed, and I'm going to do whatever I can to do that. So fuck vertical video, but it's also awesome.
I think people get a little. I think whatever the medium is in the present day, like definitely what I've learned as I've tried to learn about marketing is like whatever you are gonna do, you have to do it well.
Yeah.
So like if it's like a mom or dad kind of looking vertical video, like it sucks. I've definitely been one of the people that has put your videos into that vertical.
I didn't mean to go that far.
No. What I will say is what I
back
don't
after
like.
this.
What I don't like when I see like, and I've seen it from some bigger bands, and I won't name names, but like if they just take a regular video and crop it without doing any like panning or anything like that, so you can act like I don't like seeing something cropped out.
No, and you guys are creative with it.
I'll make sure I get the focus of the shot. Like if it's Eris, I'll make sure that the lack of width in the shot doesn't cut him out of it or something like that.
Right.
So I don't like if I see like someone reposting like any stream of a band and it's just like, oh, like I can only see like half of the shot right now. You gotta do it well.
Right.
So.
And that's what I mean, and for those, like I'm not ripping on the normies, but like if you are going to do like something with that regular style video, just remember to shoot a little wide. There's nothing wrong with that, because then you can have a proper crop.
Yep.
It's
the future, though.
But like, I agree with you. You can't fight the trend, because if you fight the trend, you're out.
You just got whatever
You're
you do.
gonna kick the bucket.
My opinion is just do it well.
Do it well. Yeah. We got a couple more, and then we're gonna wrap into the later half of the podcast. But drinking coffee past 8 p.m.
For me, that's stale.
Okay.
I can't. I'll be up all night, and I'll be on the toilet all night.
Man. What about you?
Oh, dude. There's two things that I will drink at any time of the day, no matter what. That's either alcohol or coffee.
Okay.
There's no in between, dude. Coffee at 8 p.m., coffee at 9 p.m., coffee at 2 in the fucking morning. Dude, all steez to me.
Yep, steezy as fuck.
You already know.
About to get my third one on the way out of here.
There you go. There you go. Last one, late night sets. Playing or watching? Steez or stale?
I gotta say Steez, man.
Okay.
The energy of a late night set, if you want to be there, you're having a good fucking time. I definitely would recommend, if you're too tired or whatever it might be, like, go to bed, because that's what I'd do. But if I'm in the mood for a late night set, or if I'm booked to play one, I'm gonna make sure I'm in the mood to play it. And the people that are there are always having best time possible. So it's Steez. I'll say Steez.
What about you, man?
Dude, there's two things that I've learned to be a big fan of when going to shows. The after party, and then sometimes, if you're lucky and the stars align, the after party. Dude, I don't give a fuck what time a set goes until You tell me that after Wild in the Trees, that someone at, like, I don't know, say Lagoon in Lake George is doing something until 4 a.m, dude, I'm there. Then you tell me that, I don't know, let's throw a band out there. Eastbound Jesus is doing like a 5 to 9 a.m. set, dude. I'm in. That's all. Dude, steez as fuck to me, man.
What about you, Dougie?
Dude, it's steezy, but I'm so tired. I'm not gonna be there.
Okay.
But when I am there, like you're saying, it's a fantastic time. And if I'm already there, keep it going. But like if I have to like that's the one thing with like 80K Fest. It's like I have to leave that venue and then go to another one. Like it's so tempting to just kind of keep on walking home.
Yeah.
But once I'm there, go all night.
I'm going to have to say stale at festivals because I just can't be up at 4 a.m. I usually have already obliterated my body and taken too many photos to even want to watch another concert. But if we're talking about February 24th, an after show at Mo, then I'm saying steez. Because Hilltop is playing an after show, and you guys are doing a fucking experiment, right?
Yeah.
So steez for this. Fill us in, man, because this is important. And when people watch this, it'll be just a couple days before the show.
Yeah, so the experiment is definitely going to be kind of an audience participation. That's kind of like a lot. We definitely have seen band, like the Grateful Dead did like the ESP experiment where the whole audience like tried to like guess what someone in like a remote place was thinking. And we definitely we're a very like scene and fan oriented kind of band at this point, and we're like very I want to say we really want to kind of open up a way for our fans to interact and have a little bit of input in terms of like what we'll be playing and like just at a deeper level than normal how the vibe of the night will go. So this is just like a fun way to we're definitely playing into the science theme, and we have some like really cool and funny shit planned that we're really pumped for the people to see in person. That it is a Mo after party, and we'll definitely be getting the Mo scene out there, but we'll definitely have our own people in there that are first in line to be test subjects for our experiment. So it's gonna be freaking fun. Honestly, I'm really excited.
Yeah, so
Sweet.
come with an appetite. There's gonna be space cakes and all that good stuff, right? Just kidding.
There will definitely be some kind of what would you call it? A potion or
Aromas.
There's definitely going to be some kind of like chemical mix that they're serving up at the bar for you to get a taste of if you want to.
There we go. Love potion number 9 might even be there.
Ooh.
But most importantly, will you guys be rocking the house?
Hilltop always rocks the house. I need everyone that's ever watched Cheap Flights and Cornbread to know that Hilltop rocks the house. That's a must.
Do you guys hear that? All 31 of you out there.
Write that down.
Yeah, numbers are actually going up.
Dude, yeah. Well, when we
Shout
first,
out to the peeps.
well, by the time,
y'all.
it took 35 episodes to get to 31 people, but I'm okay with it.
35
Because
episodes,
for the
yeah.
amount of people that it really felt like we were just talking at 14 people, just talking at 31 people, dude.
It's getting
Hey, man.
serious.
It makes me more nervous.
Hey man, you see how empty Putnam Place is?
For now,
Dude, we're about to fill it up,
Well,
man. We're like
Imagine booking like 40, 50 shows for a band and showing up to a venue that looks like this, and you're like, wait, like where are all the people supposed to come from?
Exactly, yeah.
So it's-
and one day we're hoping to turn this around and do a live show one day, and but
Hell yeah.
we
get
take a step along each way, but we are wrapping into the end of the podcast. But before we get into the last section, I do have some plugs in Putnam Place shows to talk about. First of all, I've got to plug our YouTube channel. Please do us a favor and go subscribe. That is our biggest help. If there's anything you do to help support Mirth Films this year, please tell your friends to go subscribe. And also, head to send us an email, mirthisking518@gmail.com if you have any people you would like to see on the show or anything you would like us to talk about. Also, March 26th, we have the Listen Up Awards at Cahoe's Music Hall at 3 p.m. Hilltop is nominated as for our favorite jam band. You have until February 28th to vote. So please do your part and go vote. It's up to you guys. This is public opinion, man.
And what's the dress code, Frankie?
So the dress code is you better not wear a fucking suit in my
Guess who's
goddamn
wearing a
room.
fucking suit?
I'm wearing blue jeans.
I'm doing it out of spite.
I'm gonna have a little plastic bag for my pizza just for the Mo song, and yeah, I'll probably be hiding in the corner next to the PowerPoint and switching the slides. But it's gonna be a good time, and your vote, your choice. Also, we had an interview with metal band Gozer from the Capital Region. Awesome band, really into them. They remind me a lot of The Sword, mixed with just some like Pantera thrash metal grooves. Really awesome, and the singer literally looks like identical twin to Chris Farley.
That's sick.
Also, Memorial Meltdown happening Memorial Day weekend in Lake George, New York, May 27th and 28th. This may be the last time that you get to see Twiddle in Lake George. So please, if you're a fan of the band, make it out. It's always a great atmosphere up in Lake George at the Charles Arwood Park. And so make sure you get your ass up there. There's some also awesome other bands like Giant Panda, Gorilla Dub Squad. We got Dogs in a Pile, Annie in the Water, and Mahali and Friends, with no I in the word friends.
I am friends. I hope they play that.
I hope they do too. I bet they will. I have my money on it. And then lastly, Putnam Place shows we got coming up. February 24th, we have Jenna Sue and Mike Bear. And before they start playing, there's going to be some line dancing. So you cowboys out there, make sure to get out here. February 25th, don't bring your mom to the show because Joe Mansman is going to be rocking the house and just melting faces. And basically, if you want to know what it's like to go a Joe Mansman show, just watch the Master Exploder part in Tenacious D, A Pick of Destiny, and that basically sums up who Joe Mansman is and what he does to his fans.
Yeah, that makes me want to go. Actually, not gonna lie. That's a good.
If
That's
you're not
a
going
good
to
hype.
man,
Yeah.
I'll be a good band to go see. But it's the same night. 25th is the night of the Hilltop.
Hilltop's the 24th.
24th. So you'll have plenty of time. Go to Hilltop, skip the second night of Mo, go see Eastbound Jesus, and then make your way here for Joe Mansman. March 3rd, we have Dead Man's Waltz, Grateful Dead, the band, cover band, featuring Jeremy Walls, Rev Tor, some other great people. I don't know if Rev Tor's in the band, but great band. I've seen them a couple times. You'll definitely like them if you like that music. On March 10th, we have Lucid Street with Sydney Worthley and Watchdog. Great local Capital Region acts, non-jam bands. Go support other music than jam bands. March 17th, we got Dogs in a Pile with Haley Jane, and we'll probably be doing a live podcast right from here. So if you want to come on the show so we can rip on you, we'll just come to the Putnam Place on that day. And then lastly, we have on March 31st, to round out this month of shows, we have Barely Dead. I love Barely Dead. First time and the only time I ever saw them was at Disc Jam 2019. Just feeling like shit. Just woke up. Just had getting the coffee in me. Nice little Grateful Dead Sunday set. Jerry band. First time I ever heard the song "Ain't No Bread in the Bread Box," and that then started my. That started me to open up to listening to a lot more Jerry Garcia shows, which was really cool. Barely Dead, go see them. They're a Western Massachusetts band. And the way we like to wrap up each podcast is what we've been consuming, what we've been watching, what we've been listening, if you play video games, what you've been playing, just some recommendations to people out there. I'm just going to start it, and we're going to go down the line. But I've been watching some old Mirth Films, live shows, just to like kind of. We're trying to figure out the Walden and Trees lineup, so we're trying to figure out who we want to make it on. Also, I've been watching a video on the Canon, video reviews on the Canon R10. I have to, unfortunately, spend more money on another camera because not all of my cameras record full length. So I really like that Canon is now doing full length recording. Something I grew up a Canon shooter and switched to Sony and Panasonic because they didn't have that feature. So I might switch back. Also, there's been this whole debacle online. This video game reseller called DK Oldies. You might see their TikToks or YouTube shorts online where they're like cleaning video games and like doing a really good job. Basically, they've been sending. That's all bullshit. Basically, one of the biggest YouTubers in like tech reviews bought something and it looked like shit, and he paid for a refurbished price. Like, he paid like $375 for a Nintendo Entertainment System, and it was dirty. Like, it barely worked. And so then he went and bought more. Like, he went to buy another system to review. Didn't work. There was another one. The Xbox like drive didn't work, and he called them out. And now like the guy, the DK Oldies basically blocked this guy, and like all these people are like calling him out right now. It's really cool to see. And I only say that because if somebody's spending like hard-earned money, or your mom or dad on TikTok who don't know how to shoot vertical video, are seeing this, then they're fucking ripping people off. It's disgusting.
Their prices are pretty outrageous too.
Yeah.
They're just.
And I really like their videos. I was like, this is cool.
They are nice videos.
Yeah.
But, dude, that just goes to show how shitty like human beings are.
Yeah. Just to continue things, Das Boot. I watched a video on how to drink out of a boot. Just because I would like watch Beer Fest again.
Good move.
And I saw some boots at Target in like the like that first area where you walk in. I wanted to, but it was not big enough. I want a glass.
You heard it. You heard it here first, Frankie. For the next podcast, I will, because you know, my fiance is a fucking Target aficionado. We're getting 4 of those Das fucking boots.
You're not gonna be able to work that day. I'm sorry.
Doug, call off.
What do you mean?
You're gonna have to get Das Boot.
Dude.
I gotta watch some movies
Das
to prepare.
Boots.
So, and then lastly, Gifted Hater released a street part.
I was
I
gonna
liked
mention
his
that.
approach. Like, he didn't take the serious approach.
No, it was all joking, all fun, dude. No, I watched some video reviewing it, dude, and he was like, "Yo, he's got like the whole Sid outfit from Toy Story on in one of the clips.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious."
I've been listening to some Crocus, some Judas Priest. I've been listening to some Sheryl Crow.
Yes.
Because all I want to do
My celebrity
is
crush.
have some fun. Kiss, one of my favorite bands. Been listening to some Mo, trying to just listen to some of the repertoire that I'm not really very knowledgeable on, because they have brought us on to do recordings of both nights of their Palace Theater shows.
Nice.
And I'm so excited. And so you'll be there doing camera. I know you said you had something going on that weekend.
Oh, that's end of February, right?
End of February.
Well, I'll let you know. I'll figure it out.
We got Chris Senzik involved.
Oh,
it's
that's
gonna be a good
man.
time. And so I just want to be, also I have to say, I've been listening to the song Santa Monica over and over again, and trying to convince myself this is one of the greatest rock songs of all time. It's actually, I wish more came from Everclear, and other than just a high percentage alcohol.
Oh my God.
Say that like it's a bad thing.
Man, when I had to go up, unfortunately, every single week to Plattsburgh in 2017 to go see somebody, I was not in party mode. Like I on Fridays I would work midnight to 9 a.m. Because that was my shift at the news station I was working at the time. So I'd wake up at 9 a.m. I would get out of work at 9 a.m. after working all night, and then up in Plattsburgh it's a fucking party. So what did I do? What was my smart thing? My mixed drink, Everclear, like just to get myself spiked. Everclear mixed with 5 Hour Energy.
Holy crap, man.
That was my drink.
That's some
Dude,
go-go
move
juice
over,
right there.
dude. Move over vodka Red Bulls.
Yeah, right.
Get that pussy shit out of here.
But
Oh,
just
God.
continue, Warped Tour 04, Vans Warped Tour. I love that CD. Great punk music on there, real punk music. And then also some Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. I've been listening to them too, because Sky's great. But video game playing, finally beat through all of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Remastered. Beat it 23 times in 1 month. Every skater cleared it all, 100%. So kiss my ass, Tony Hawk. Release some new games, because we all really like your games, and especially Tony Hawk 4, Underground. So many great memories, and I know I would love to replay those games. So I was lost. I was like, what the fuck do I do with my life? Like, so I was like, Valentine's Day is coming up, and I wanted to get Mickey something nice, and she, Hogwarts Legacy just came out, which is reviewed spectacular. It was a great game. It's a great game, and and it's not available on the PS4 yet until April. So I was like, and I really want her to play it because it's something that she really likes. So I got the PS5 for downstairs and for her, and I took the PS4 upstairs and started. I'm a trader now. I now am playing PlayStation and started playing Spider-Man, and it's one of the best games I've ever played. I'm like 2 hours into it. I'm like, God damn, Xbox, you got to play catch up because if not, they will literally be in serious trouble.
Dude, have you seen all the Xbox news?
Well, they're not sure if they're going to be. Basically, it's teeter-tottering where if they're going to be buying Activision and Blizzard, which sucks. And they just released this report, which they should have. I mean, it's good that they did it, for being honest, but Game Pass has led to lower game sales across the board in the industry. Right, it does make sense. It's helped the smaller developers, but
Killing
like
the big boys.
that's not what you want to be coming out when in 3 months, the FCC is going to decide this $2 billion. I think it's like $25-30 billion merger.
I mean, yeah, when you think about how big Activision Blizzard is, and think about how like the biggest game in PC gaming, World of Warcraft,
Call of Duty,
Call of fucking Duty,
the biggest game, I have to say, like ever each
yeah,
year.
pretty sure
it's
it's
the
like
best-selling game.
Pretty sure it's like a terabyte on its own if you download it.
Oh my God! Which, speaking of that, which is a huge reason why I stopped playing an Xbox, was because I fucking bought the Modern Warfare remaster, and it required like 200 gigabytes worth of data to download. I was pissed off. No other Call of Duty game made me do that, so I was like, I just couldn't. I had to download like 7 install packs. I was like, this is bullshit. And like I'm trying to beat all the Call of Duties right now. And I have 2 more to go. I've beat 13 Call of Duties in the past 3 months. I really wish I was making this shit up.
I know you're not. It's like great.
That's impressive.
Dude, you need your own gaming channel, bro.
Well, for as much stress I take on, I need to decompress. And decompressing for me is not leaving my house sometimes. And so because when you're around thousands of people, and a lot of what I do involves crowds, so
a quiet day
I
is
need
nice.
I'm different. I'm I can't have a medium. I either want to be around nobody or I want to be not seen in a crowd of 1,000 people. I don't know. 4's just enough. Any more 5, I don't know. But we're gonna go down the line. I've talked too much. Doug, what do you think?
I mean, I've been watching lots of Formula One Drive to Survive, which has led me to play F1 2021 on Xbox. I think it's on. I think it's the one on Game Pass. Unfortunately, don't want to. I'm not trying to buy a video game right now. Actually, dude, they just added Hot Wheels to Game Pass, so I got that installed. I'm gonna play that when I get home.
Is that the Forza Horizon 5?
No. It's its own game. Oh, I know. I'm excited. Yeah, no, I watched the announcement trailer. And it's set up in a fucking room and whatnot. I'm like, it looks sick. Definitely gonna play that when I get home. Other than that, I mean, just Art Bell Tape Vault. So it's just an old talk show from early '90s, 2000s. And every once in a while you get the bumper music. And every once in a while be ABBA, and I'm honestly about to get into ABBA. It's funky. Yes.
Dancing Queen.
Dude, think about that song right now. Start playing it in your head and tell me that's not a bop.
Well, I'll also say Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters and Nirvana has quoted them as one of his favorite bands.
Dude, I can't not admit anymore. Yeah, no, I'm about to get into. I might actually play that on the way out tonight.
Dude, let's play it. Let's jam out to some ABBA when we're packing up.
Yeah,
dude, for sure.
What's their other song?
I don't know. I haven't gotten to ABBA yet, but I want to.
And if you really like them, I'm pretty sure they have a SingStar game where you can sing every ABBA song, so go and get it.
Is it on Xbox 360? Because I was just about to get that.
Part of
for you.
Activision Blizzard.
Well, I got that in the car for you.
Okay, well, maybe next time.
What about you, Brett?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Watching, the woman and I have been rewatching Futurama.
Oh, that's
just a great
show.
Solid series. That's our dinner time. It's our dinner time episode before I go into work. Music-wise, I have been back into a little bit of meta modern country, like Sturgill Simpson, Coulter Wall. a third that Colby Acuff, I think is how you pronounce his name. I don't know, just been in this like weird thing, and then actual classic country like Randy Travis. Was listening to 3 Wooden Crosses on the way here, which is like a guaranteed. Us Fort Ann boys have feelings at some point in our life, but
I'm not gonna lie, I lose my shit when I hear Ride Horse.
Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
I lose
Let
my
me just
shit.
tell you,
I'm like,
that is
fucking
so.
yeehaw.
If we ever, we should all do karaoke together one night, and I'll drag Nick Bull with us because we fucking kill Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
The only time I've ever done karaoke was at a drag bar, and I did Midnight Rider, and nobody was impressed.
Well,
Nobody was impressed.
because you got
I
to
was
know
like,
your
yeah, I'm
audience.
epic right
You
now.
got to
Like-
sing ABBA there, dude.
I know.
Right?
Definitely.
You would have been their dancing queen, and dude, you would have made so many new friends.
I was only thinking about myself
Were
at the
you
time.
Were you in New Orleans?
No, I was in actually great city, Provincetown, Massachusetts. It has a big LGBTQ community, and they do a lot of great events throughout the year. And there's a lot of activism there. It's really cool. But what's amazing about that place is it's literally the tip of the Cape Cod, and it's just you look out to nothing in the ocean. It's just really relaxing.
And they just don't care for classic karaoke, apparently.
No, and I will say I had the best fish fry I've ever had in my life there.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you're on the coast.
I'm on the coast. So.
I'm trying to think of what else. So yeah,
Just the tip.
watching, listening, playing. Dude, mobile games, man. I mean, as we said, wrote a
Check
whole
the article.
article about that. 5 of my favorite. I am currently at an impasse in Arena of Valor, which Arena of Valor, to the uninformed who haven't ever watched this before or heard us talk about this, Arena of Valor is a mobile version of the very classic PC game League of Legends. I'm very, very good at it. I'm actually top 10% in the world out of the about 20 million users. So like I'm trying to be better at it. But
We got professional
in ranked play, I am stuck because I can never win more than 1 in a row. So therefore, like, I can't keep climbing ranks. So I'm stuck at Diamond 5.
You'll
And,
break through. I
Dude,
believe. in
I
you.
have been trying to break through for like 3 weeks. And then when I give up on that, a game that I don't think gets enough love, because I do like those classic, like those 8-bit games, especially new games made in that style, something called the Shattered Pixel Dungeon. So you basically have to like go down to the depths as you like explore what starts as a dungeon, becomes a prison, becomes like this fucking abandoned mine shaft, and then boom, like everything's trying to kill you the whole time. Skeletons, thieves, mice.
Sounds like a regular day for me.
Yeah, I would say, dude, yeah. I mean, to these guys, this is like their entire life on the line, and for Hilltop, it's Tuesday. But yeah,
Alright.
no, that's me, dude.
Klangus Khan. What is it? Klangus Khan?
Yeah, it's like Genghis Khan.
Yeah,
I don't want to
Genghis
compare myself to someone that massacred.
Okay.
Hey, say what you want. He did actually lower the carbon footprint.
Good. Hey man,
What
horses.
about orangutan?
that works too.
Orangutan.
Okay.
There you go. Whatever you would like to call me. I won't stop you.
Orangutans are cute, and they're not murderers. So
I wouldn't leave my child around.
Yeah,
an
that would say
orangutan.
that's kind of
Yeah.
a debatable statement, but go on. What you been
So what have I
consuming?
been watching or consuming or anything? I'm definitely. I'll start out with music as a musician. Sometimes that's like a hard thing to find. Is like the next like album or song or whatever that's really like motivating. I don't know if you guys have listened to any of Silk Sonic. With
Yes.
there we go.
It's,
that's the
dude,
band you were
fuck
talking
yeah,
about,
Bruno
right?
Mars and Anderson motherfucking Paak. That is the music that has created at least 10 million babies since the album came out. There has been so many conceptions to any of those songs, probably at the very least. I love 777 off that, but Smoking
a
Out the
fun-ass
Window. I'm sorry, but
No,
great-
dude, I
great album,
love
though.
the passion because it is a great album. What I said
Fuck
to,
yeah.
Dude,
to someone that I
is
was working with
baby-making
recently,
music.
that's like the first, not very often does like what to me it could be considered like an instant classic. Like that's not like a yearly thing where something that you could call an instant classic comes out. Like in my lifetime, like Random Access Memories by Daft Punk comes to mind. There's a few others that are just like hitting, and for whatever reason, like that Silk Sonic, like every track on that, it's just a bunch of really talented guys. I wouldn't have been one to be like on the Bruno Mars kick ever really in my life in the past, but he's, you know, he brings it. He's really got the voice for it. That honestly, that album has like, when something really catches me with music, it gets rotated, and it fell out of rotation for me for like maybe 2 weeks or something like that after I was bumping it. But then, I don't know, something came into me and I started playing it again. Another one that I'll just mention as it's like reaching 50, and it's like hitting me again, is Dark Side of the Moon. While we were on fall tour, like Eris and I in our vehicle like listened chronologically through Pink Floyd, from the beginning of the David Gilmour stuff, and it honestly takes a while to get through everything and to find that whole build-up, which is Dark Side of the Moon, which is just like, to me, one of the most like epically written things. That's, you know, it's just a masterpiece.
Best concept album of all time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it just really kind of covers everything, you know what I mean, and it's timeless, and you know, it technically has time in it. But you know, it's definitely as relevant now, and it doesn't feel dated. The lyrics don't make you feel like, oh, this is so from an era or whatever it is. It just is universal, is a good way to put it. And then, you know, from the non-musical side, I've been very into comedy recently. I really like Shane Gillis, who's coming up.
Dude, fuck yes. Shane Gillis is a savage.
He's very, very funny. One thing that I do, you know, just kind of like as an aside, when you listen to a lot of these podcasts, you know, as someone that's just like growing in show business, like it's interesting to hear like the comparative stories that comedians have of, oh, booking out this venue, you know, I'm doing these shows, and, you know, some of them will be live online, you know what I mean? It's just a very similar kind of like hustle to market yourself and to put yourself in cool spots. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I learned a lot about how comedians and a lot of entertainers kind of come up, and I like watching people, especially in podcast form, because a comedian will tell you about how they got the Beacon Theater booked or something like that. So I really love that, as someone that's just like passionate about like that growth element. Like I love hearing, and not just in music, but in other, you know, entertainment, live event industries, like how that stuff comes together. It really, it just gives me some idea of what else is going on out there. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where I put my brain and what I like to watch when I'm not like writing emails or editing video or doing something wild, you know.
Hell yeah, man. And if you're gonna get wild, you better get wild in the trees, October 7th and 8th. Now, all I gotta say about this is the podcast is over.
Deuces.
This has been episode. First off, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
This was fun.
Deep respect for you guys. You guys have what it takes, and I just gotta say, there's not a lot of bands out there that spend as much time as they do, like you guys do, with each other, and that just portrays in the music. So keep on hanging out with each other. February 24th, go catch Hilltop at Parish Public House, and they're gonna get experimental, and not just with their music, and go see this awesome band while they're still playing small clubs. And but this has been episode 35 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast. If you don't like watching it, you can listen to it in your car, on iTunes, Spotify. If you're a SoundCloud kid, you can listen to it on SoundCloud. We actually have somewhat of a fan base on SoundCloud. Sick. I don't even put any time or effort into SoundCloud, just other than to upload to put on the other platforms. And for some reason, we have like 200 followers. Like I don't understand.
Dude, taking run
So
back.
we're fucking.
What's up, SoundCloud?
We're sandwiched between two like rural farm town rappers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Somewhere in the algorithm.
You know, and sandwiches are great, especially Reuben's. So do yourself a favor. February 24th, Hilltop. Go and up the street to Hill Street. Get yourself a Reuben before the show. You know you're going to need it because you're going to be dancing your ass off all night. So thank you guys for watching this episode. And what do you have to do, Brett?
Well, I think what we all need to do, aside from try and set up an Xbox on this big-ass projector afterward, smoke them if you got them.
Smoke them if you got them, boys.
Light up.